Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, we have your New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion recap. Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest. More Usos drama. Braun Breaker calls out Seth Rollins. And we also have MJF and Adam Cole. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast. We also have the Guns join Bullet Club? Is that what the fuck happened?
I don't know.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Dabakato Kalen. And sitting directly across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
The funny part about that is I had NXT on the background on Tuesday night because I was off, and I saw Dabakato on NXT, and I'm like, damn, when the fuck did he go to NXT?
There's all sorts of motherfuckers on NXT now.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
And out there in Portland. Sorry, Jay. Jason Cornelius Bell, I didn't let you do your thing. Go ahead, do your thing.
I'll ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 311, chapter 3, verse 14 of the Good Smart saith, hashtag who the heels, it's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, beat. Holy Trinity of BFR. Now, you may continue.
Sorry about that. I'm sober this weekend. I'm sober this week, so my timing's all thrown off. And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have 3 beers. Zach Pullman, what's going on? 3 beer.
Beer for Winston House.
Oh man, just about to go out and buy a shitload of popcorn because Donald Trump was just indicted on federal charges. So I think there's going to be a shortage. Everybody's going to be like Michael Jackson and Thriller, just popping that shit.
Yeah, there's no way old Donnie can slip out of this one. Donald Trump easily slips out of it. Well, nevertheless.
What the fuck? I clearly have not been paying attention.
So we are coming at you from beautiful St. Charles, Missouri. It is very nice outside. The skeeters are as big as possums. Vice is in tow, sitting right here, hanging out, just chilling out for the duration. I'm gonna take like a month off drinking. I went really, really hard this past weekend celebrating the life of an old friend. It was a very great weekend. Jason and I saw a lot of people that we haven't seen in a very long time. Lots of bar regulars from it was like 2009 up in that bitch. I was like, God damn, I haven't seen you in a while. I forgot about you. Where the fuck did you come
still
from?
Alive, motherfucker?
Yeah, I know. But tons of fun. Rest in peace, Jackie Steeson. Everybody else stay loose. And without further ado, let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
Now, JCB, I gave him the dealer's choice for whatever he wanted to do. He said, well, I just talked about Dominion on Monday. And I was like, well, who talked about Dominion on Monday? And he was talking about his other podcast. Now, there's only one thing you can call that, and that is
absolute fucking bullshit.
You can't let the other podcast bleed into your professionalism on this podcast. You understand, Jason?
Kind of the reason why I personally didn't want to talk about it, but
then let me talk about it on count 3. Don't worry, I will cut this part out in post. We will edit this part out.
Yeah.
JCB, kick it off.
Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm being browbeaten again. Fuck it, let's talk about WWE. Jesus
there we go.
Christ.
All right,
Lord have mercy.
There we go. What's going on with WWE?
I guess obviously the one big story once again, still the Bloodline all day long. SmackDown is basically was at least for last Friday night the Bloodline storyline where it was the 1,000-day celebration of Roman Reigns. Rumor was abound that he was going to get a new title, which he did. Very similar to Seth. I'm assuming that the other 2 titles will be retired at this point. Personally, just to see people's heads explode. I would love to see Roman still carry all 3 titles just to kind of rub it in everybody's faces, neither here nor there. So obviously Paul Heyman is setting up said celebration, and there is supposedly double security set up for the Usos not to make it in, and somehow, some way they magically slip in. I'd love this.
They're good at that, right?
This got to be the same security that runs NXT's parking lot and all this other shit, because nobody can safe in NXT's
That's
parking lot.
the least secure parking lot in the motherfucking world, dude.
And in this scenario,
People always getting fucked up in that parking lot.
Usos, on the biggest day of Roman Reigns' title reign, they slip through double security and get into the arena itself. So obviously the final segment is the Roman Reigns 1000 celebration. Triple H gives him the new title belt. Like I said, for me, I like the title belt. It's different than Seth's title, which is, to me, the most important thing. I don't want them to be basically the same thing the way they were beforehand, so you can obviously tell the difference. But obviously that's not the story. The story happens when the Usos arrive. And now you have drama unfolding. Jimmy not backing down. Roman's basically letting him know that he needs to fall in line, or otherwise there are going to be consequences and repercussions. Solo Sikoa, having the first swerve on my ass, said he was not going to stand with Roman. He's going to stand with his brothers. The brothers are his blood, and caught me for the initial swerve. Right when Jimmy and Roman were going to hug it out, Roman gives them a little nod. Solo attacks Jimmy with the Samoan spike, leaves him laying, and that is where SmackDown ends. Jay is definitely on the fence because Roman's basically saying that don't worry about it, Jay will fall in line. We will see here in 24 short hours, but once again, right when I think the Bloodline could slow down, might slow down, got me again. I'm coming the next week to see what the fuck happens. Outside of that, SmackDown was what it was. Lacey Evans makes her triumphant return and loses to Zelina Vega, but we could talk about that in a second. I'll let you guys talk about the Bloodline.
Two Bear, what you think?
Oh, phenomenal segment. Roman did such a fantastic job in this, and it's kind of a big celebration, right? It's 1,000 days. They're making a big deal out of it, which is understandable. I do like that they're just doing one belt, and then he has one belt, Seth has one belt. I think they should do the tag title belts next, like give them a new set, especially because they have to carry around 4. Just seems egregious. But yeah, it was a really good segment. Really excellently acted, excellently executed. And they're stringing us along, and this is a super slow burn, and it's still intriguing. I do think it probably peaked with the Sammy stuff, but he was the catalyst of getting it so hot. But the fact that it is maintaining is excellent, and it makes those segments at least must-see TV, even if the rest of the show is not.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I usually am a mark, and I want to get swerved. When Solo went over with the Usos, I never bought it. I was like, this ain't right. This ain't right. And then I saw later on that somebody said that his thumb was sticking up the entire time. Like the Samoan spike was always ready. Like he was just waiting for Roman to give him the word. But I echo what you guys said. It was a fantastic segment. I see people lamenting like, oh, so now we're going to get another week of, what's Jay's decision? It's like, what do you want, guys? This is weekly television. Like, this is the way they're supposed to do it. This is the way we've always wanted them to do it. Like, yeah, it's a story that's going to be told incrementally. And this is an incremental story that they're trying to do on weekly television, I guess. And I'll tell you what. Apparently, these Uso segments are doing gangbusters, and when they advertise Roman Reigns to be on that week, they are doing ratings. So they're going to string it out as long as they can. We're going to get one iteration of a match at Money in the Bank. We're going to get another iteration at SummerSlam. We're probably going to get another iteration at whatever is after that. Maybe all the way up until... I don't know. Maybe Rikishi's going to have a match with Roman Reigns. I don't know. Everything's on the table.
He's going to get that stink face.
Man, Roman taking the stink face. If this was all headed towards Roman taking the stink face, it would all be worth it.
That shit's crazy. You said the Roman taking the stink face. Lord have mercy. I'll say this.
They bring back Sky Too Hottie.
So far as he's got for teeth, they'll really help clean up Rikishi's crack there.
Whoa!
Sky Too Hottie taking the belt off of Roman Reigns. That's my new call. Sky Too Hottie is the one who takes the undisputed belt off of Roman
Give
Reigns.
this man the pencil.
Don't encourage this motherfucker. Come on now. At some point, we're going to have a title defense from Roman. I'm not sure when, but it's good if we get to the point where he doesn't defend by, I think it's SummerSlam. That's over 100 days. Okay? Even me, who has no problem with him not defending every 30 days, 100 days is now starting to get to the point where now you just going to have to defend the title. Pick somebody out the hat. I don't give a rat's ass who it is at this point. They ain't winning. Pick somebody out the hat and let's just have a title defense.
Yeah, just have a tournament and just give somebody a chance to be in the ring with them, even if it's a 5-6 minute match. I would rather them err on the side of trying something new and it not being super cool than not doing anything at all. Which is really, I mean, what I think about that Dominion main event more than anything. But I mean, that's another. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Money in the Bank, obviously, qualifying matches here on SmackDown. LA Knight versus Montez Ford was the one that really stuck out. I kind of wish that they wouldn't have had these guys in qualifying matches. I wish they'd just had them win in separate matches, meet in the Money in the Bank. I think both guys, at least, you can make a case for both guys to have the Money in the Bank going forward. Montez is the guy that a lot of people, including myself, think can be the next big superstar if given the chance. And LA Knight with the mic in hand and Money in the Bank briefcase in the other just seems like absolute entertainment to me. But neither here nor there. LA Knight wins. I think that's probably it was still my pick for the guy to win Money in the Bank. So a part of me was happy, but then the flip side, like I said, seeing Montez Ford taking this L, it just felt like a good spot to at least have him in London, have him on the card, and try to just elevate his singles, I guess, resume, for lack of a better word, a little bit more. But LA Knight's supposed to be there. The right guy, I'm assuming, went over. We'll see what happens.
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, between those two, I think that's the right pick. It is funny that they put them together because I think both of them would be good in the match. I think it's a good spot for both of them. But, I agree. LA Knight is pretty hot. He hasn't gotten like a huge push. He's kind of just gotten over organically, mostly in losses, which is, if somebody's getting over and they're losing, then, maybe just have them start winning some matches. See how that goes.
I still think that Montez Ford is going to be in the match. I think that we still have, 3 more Raws before then, or 4 more weeks of television? Maybe just 3 more weeks of television. It's the end of June, right?
I believe so, yes.
So, or no, it might be July 1st. Anyway.
No, I'm 90% sure it's the last Saturday of the month, because Forbidden Door is the following day.
I feel like they do this every year, though. Like, somebody will get eliminated, and then they'll have, like, a second chance tournament to get in, or, like, a second chance battle royal or something. And really, like, having Montez Ford lose to LA Knight when Montez Ford seems to have the people's momentum behind him, at least, to borrow a phrase from Dwayne, that it gets people talking. People are like, well, what the fuck? Why isn't Montez Ford in Money in the Bank? That's stupid. He's the man, and he's a high flyer. He does the best frog splash of all time. Apologies to Eddie Guerrero. But you know what? I didn't even mention the G1 announcement in the opener. What the fuck was I thinking? God damn. See, this no drinking thing is throwing me off. Montez Ford. So Montez Ford's in the G1. Now wait a minute. What the fuck was I talking about? Anyway, I think Montez Ford gets back in the Money in the Bank. Anyway, and I still think, well, you know what? It doesn't. there's not a lot of baby faces that get the Money in the Bank briefcase, and probably for good reason, because winning it's a very heel thing to do. I think LA Knight would be the perfect winner of it, and I feel like I called it like a really long time ago, but that might have been one of you guys. I don't know. I drink. I'll remember this one.
We'll see about that. Let's jump back to the top of the card.
That's what they say about jump shooters. Like, you gotta have a short memory, man.
Right?
You just gotta keep shooting.
Quarterback, same way. You got burnt, get your ass back out there. You gotta do it again. Brawling Brutes versus Austin Theory and Pretty Deadly. I don't know if Austin Theory needs a faction, but if he does, I don't mind Pretty Deadly and Austin Theory hanging out for the next few weeks at the bare minimum. It feels like this is going to be a short-term feud where you have the Brawling Brutes, Austin Theory, and Pretty Deadly, kind of like you said, an air and waving of matches, whether it's singles, tag, or six-man tag. Ultimately, Pretty Deadly needs to be going over Rich Holland and Butch to get them started on momentum moving forward. Speaking of momentum moving forward, or in this case, probably going backwards, Hit Row versus the OC, probably the low point of the whole night. I don't know what they keep doing with between Hit Row and Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans, number one, Hit Row now, number two. Switching this gimmick, trying to make things work, ain't working for either one of them, and especially when you go out and have both people that you're switching the gimmicks go out and lose, and then you have Mia Yim mocking the old Hit Row and doing the old swerve pose after the match. Hit Row is done, okay? If there is a reason to move anybody to NXT, Hit Row is probably the next ones to go. If you don't want to release them, great. Move them to NXT, because you are making them look brutal on the main roster. I was laughing my ass off watching Mia Yim making fun of them cats. They are done, okay? No reason. You cannot reheat Hit Row. Without Swerve,
Dude,
they are nothing.
Even Michael Cole just clowns on him like the whole time they're out there.
Dude.
He's been clowning on him ever since what's-his-face.
Top Dollar started talking smack,
Well,
and the next thing you know, Michael Cole is like, you want to talk smack on the guy that holds the mic and host commentary and can get your ass over.
Well, when he tried to do, what did he try to do? A tope suicida, and he. Oh,
it's that one that you always see that he bites it on the way over.
That was real, man. That was funny.
Okay, good, man. I'll say it like this.
Oh, speaking of botches, though, I'll tell you what. LA Knight's shooting star, or the backwards flip, whatever you call it, he almost landed. He almost broke his own neck.
Yeah, it was.
He under-rotated like a motherfucker,
yeah.
dude.
I get it.
It did not look good.
You're in the ring with Montez Ford, and I know I've seen Eli Drake / LA Knight do this move. Man, sometimes you just gotta let Montez do Montez, and you just do LA Knight.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man.
Sit your dumb ass
sometimes
down.
it's just got to be a clash of styles. You know what I mean?
Grayson Waller effect. The guest this week was Asuka. I'll go to you on this one, Bill, because I didn't see a lot of the Grayson Waller effect on NXT. I'm assuming you saw more of what I've seen. I've obviously only seen maybe 2 or 3 episodes at the most. This doesn't feel, something's off, or is it just me? Am I looking for too much?
I think that they're not giving him a whole bunch, but I mean that's kind of what grabbing the brass ring's all about. Like, he's supposed to go out there and make something of it. I get a kick out of him. I thought he was pretty funny, talking about how much he loves America when all the girls
came out fight.
You know,
right? No, I get that. It just, I don't know.
What do you think of it, Zach?
I mean, it's a. We've seen that kind of act before. He's putting his own spin on it, but I think it is different whenever you have females out there, because he's not necessarily going to feud with the females. He did good whenever he had AJ on there. I think it's just with those women are just yelling Japanese at each other. There's not much for him to do.
Yeah, is there any way? And maybe there is no way. I would think that they have the technology. Can they put up subtitles? I mean,
On a live show?
I don't know. Like, I mean, everything's scripted anyway. I mean, can they not put up subtitles? It just seems like it almost seems kind of like it's not doing the talent any favors to not have subtitles up there, because they're just screaming in a different language that to an English-speaking audience will either A, they won't understand it, or B, it'll just seem funny to them because they're uneducated or just not very accepting of other cultures or something like that, right?
I almost want to say that was the way they wanted to go about it. They wanted to make this a funny segment because you just have Asuka and Io screaming Japanese to each other.
Well, then it's racist, right?
A part of me was not exactly thrilled with that.
If that's supposed to be funny with two women yelling at each other in Japanese, and it's not, and we're not supposed to understand what they're saying, and it's just supposed to be funny, then that's like, that's racist. I feel pretty comfortable saying that.
I think then I have no problem with you saying that. I don't disagree with it.
As somebody who's been on the wrong end of racism for most of my life, I feel comfortable calling it out when I see it.
Two Beer, was this racist?
Yeah, let's ask the other minority.
As an expert on oppression, delivering it, not receiving it, I'm going to say no.
Wow.
I don't know. No, the real answer is maybe.
Okay, and wait, what was? Zach, did you hear about the Lacey Evans Twitter drama with Sergeant Slaughter's daughter? Jesus.
I heard, but I didn't actually see it. I heard that she said something basically like stealing the gimmick or something.
Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter's daughter is angry because she says that Lacey Evans has stolen the gimmick, which I don't know if Sergeant Slaughter's daughter. There's a couple things here. First of all, it's wrestling. You know how many fucking nature boys there are? I mean, everybody steals everybody's gimmick. That's the thing. Road Warriors would like a word with demolition. The other thing is, Lacey was actually military. You know who wasn't actually military? Uh-oh. Sergeant Slaughter.
Uh-oh.
He was a fucking G.I.
Stolen
Joe.
Valor much?
The Stolen Valor motherfucker. He was a G.I. Joe character, for Christ's sake. Who, by the way, sided with Iraq during Desert Storm. So, I mean.
There's that.
Anyway.
Incidentally, R.I.P. Iron Sheik.
R.I.P. Iron Sheik.
Yeah. Man, I really dropped the ball on this week's intro. Yeah, you know what? I'll fix it in post. Yeah, R.I.P.
Fuck the intro, Bubba.
Yes. Nice.
Well done.
Nice.
Well done.
I don't think I missed anything. Bianca attacked Asuka after the Grayson Waller effect. I don't think I missed anything. I'm looking at my notes on my phone. I think I covered it SmackDown-wise. Raw was kind of interesting. I thought it was a pretty good show, all bullshit aside. Seth and Finn and Damian Priest opened the show. I like the nice little one-liner from Seth saying that, Damian was basically like, your title reign's going to be short here in a little bit. And I was shaking my head. I was like, man, they just setting this dude to be dunked on by Seth. And he was like, basically, my title reign has already been longer than Finn Balor's. I was like, oh, Jesus. See, that's not even fair. That'd be like me going outside in front of Bill's house right now, getting a basketball and dunking on that, basketball goal out front. That ain't even regulation. That's not even fair. I know. I was walking in. I was like, man, I could dunk. I could do some Shaq shit on this motherfucker. I was saying, no way I'm supposed to be over here looking at this fellow like this.
I jumped up and touched it when I walked in. I couldn't help it.
Right.
I had to make sure.
Right. I'm sitting there looking at it like it's like Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson and White Man Can Jump. Billy Owen's like, is this shit regulation? This shit ain't regulation. One of my favorite fucking movies. Haven't seen the remake, but it is on my list of things to go watch. Becky versus Sonya Deville in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Obviously, Becky wins with Jesus Christ, Zoe Stark and Trish at ringside, or at least at the ramp. Obviously, we're going to see these two, Becky and Zoe Stark, here in Money in the Bank, because obviously Zoe Stark won her Money in the Bank qualifying match over Natalya in fairly dominating fashion. You had Indus Sher beating the dog shit out of Cedric and Shelton Benjamin like they stole some money from him. Two things on Raw I'll touch base on, and then I'll let you guys take it from there. You had KO versus Gunther backstage segment where, once again, KO is not even going to wait and even see if there's going to be a match. He demands a match right away. Gunther steps to the plate. I thought this was one of the two best matches of the night, this and the main event. I'll let you step on this one, 3 Beer. You can talk about Gunther, KO, or anything else I threw out there beforehand.
Oh, yeah, Gunther KO, awesome. The finish sucked, but I didn't expect there to be a clean finish to this match anyway, just because it's WWE. But, man, what a fantastic match. As soon as they're backstage and Kevin just starts walking to the ring, I was like, oh, shit, they're going to do this like on Raw. And they did it. They gave us a good match, so I guess I can't complain too much.
Man,
I enjoyed all of it.
It was like a perfectly constructed match, too. Like, it had me going by the end of it. What was it, like 18 minutes?
I think it was just under 18.
So we know Gunther wins all the time. When's the last time he needed heel assistance to win? I mean, it's been a long time since he won not clean. I mean, he obviously hasn't lost in a long time. Anyway, go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
No, that's really all I had to say.
But yeah, I loved it. Obviously, KO's my dude. Gunther's my dude. Gunther seems to be everybody's dude right now, but with good reason. He's the fucking man. So I hope they revisit this sometime. Maybe for the big belt would be fun. But yeah, loved it.
Now, you kind of stole my thunder. I think they planted seeds. Now, how long Seth's run's going to be? Are they going to be on the same show? If and when Gunther becomes World Heavyweight Champion, time will tell. But I think they at least planted the seeds for something down the line. Riddle attacks Imperium backstage, or I shouldn't say attacks him, but it was provoked to attack Imperium backstage. Neither here nor there. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler versus Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. Is that right?
Caden Carter, Casey Catanzaro. Yeah.
Okay.
She's got a different name now.
Yeah, no.
That's her.
I was going to say.
Katana Chance.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to say I couldn't think of the name that she has currently going on. Obviously, I wouldn't say this is a squash match, but definitely a match where the tag team champions retained. I'm not sure where this is going with Ronda and Shayna. I guess you got to get something out of Ronda Rousey. You know, you're paying all this money, you might as well get something from it. Shinsuke, Ricochet, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll say this about Ronda Rousey. She seems a lot more comfortable now that she's not presented as the shit and as a special attraction. And maybe that's really all she needed, because once the honeymoon was over with her, the backlash came swift. And now that she is in a tag team with Shayna Baszler, who always has seemed very comfortable in her own skin and in her role, Ronda Rousey also seems very comfortable. So maybe
it's probably nice to just go to work and not be the 100% center of attention, because I just imagine her whole UFC run and her judo before that, she's just the star, right, of the division. And just be able to just go to work. Kind of if you ever managed a place or stepped away from a place for a while, but then you would go back and you do a shift or whatever. Everything's fine. Anything that happens that night is fine, because you're just I'm just here to get some money and then I'm leaving. It's you're not really stoked about it.
I know exactly what it's like.
Okay, well, that is a pretty good fucking feeling. Just here's my check out. I'm going ahead and dip. Here's my question with this.
Like, I don't care what disher is fucking what server.
Nope.
You know?
I have made my loot. I shall bid you all adieu.
Have fun, children.
I'm going to be at the bar getting
With your
fucked up.
herpes and your bad decisions.
Why did Ronda Rousey think that she was not going to be the center of attention when she first came to WWE?
I think she probably did.
No, I'm just saying that it's just a lot of pressure, and whenever you go and you don't have the pressure, you probably just enjoy yourself more.
So,
Well, the thing is, in UFC and judo, in actual competition, winning solves everything. So it doesn't matter because she was the best at everything. She came somewhere where she was still treated like she was the best, and she clearly wasn't. It's got to be kind of weird.
so we're going to use Ronda and Shayna to get the tag titles over?
We're going to use the tag titles just so we get something out of everything that we paid Ronda, because we probably overpaid for what we're getting.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, it seems more legit with them two holding those belts than it did with Rachel Rodriguez and whoever she had it with.
You're not going to get an argument from me on that at all. Zero. For me, the way both women were presented in two different fashions, obviously Shayna in NXT and Ronda on the main roster, to see them here, it's just a little weird.
All right, what was next?
Shinsuke and Ricochet. Well, actually, it started with Ricochet and Bronson Reed beefing backstage. Bronson Reed still a little upset for not making the Money in the Bank. Shinsuke comes back in to kind of help Ricochet verbally attack Bronson Reed. They basically run him off. Shinsuke reminding Bronson Reed that he was the one to beat him to qualify for the Money in the Bank. Comes out with a Shinsuke and Ricochet match. This is where my antenna went up like everyone, I should have been everybody else's. You usually don't have two baby faces facing each other unless something's getting ready to happen. And, of course, Bronson Reed attacks both men, leading into a no contest. If you're going to have a last chance, last spot for Money in the Bank, you've kind of set that up now with Bronson Reed. You do have Montez Ford and other guys will be losers as well going forward. I don't necessarily think you need it. I just think if you just book, you know who needs to be in this match ultimately. It's nice drama to have if you want to have it, but the usual suspects should still be in play for Money in the Bank and other treasures like this for mid-carders to reach their proverbial brass ring, if you will.
Okay, yeah, I really don't have much to say about this one. Zach?
All those dudes sound great for Money in the Bank. Bronson Reed,
Yep.
Ricochet, Shinsuke, LA Knight, Montez Ford. I mean, there's five guys right there.
Yep. I mean, all three should be in.
Segment of the night I thought was Miz TV with Cody Rhodes. Didn't have high expectations when I heard it was Cody on Miz TV. I just, Miz TV can be hit or miss. There's sometimes really funny ones. There's sometimes really bad ones. And this one, to me, I thought was really, really good just because you had one Dominic Mysterio come down and once again be arguably the biggest heat magnet in WWE. I don't care who it is at this point. He can't get the microphone anywhere near his mouth without fans going absolute ape shit. Rhea, Miz pointing into the whole, hey, shut up, let him talk, only just made it even worse. I love Cody's lines about, what is it? I know Ray's made mistakes in the past. I love Ray. I'm looking at one of the mistakes right now. And right then I was kind of like, are we hinting at Cody versus Dom?
Oh, yeah, we're getting it.
Okay, so I'm not going to take credit for this, but somebody said this to me, and I was like, oh, this sounds absolutely magnificent. At Money in the Bank, Cody versus Dom, straight match. Brock interferes to get Dom go over, so that sets up their third match at SummerSlam, and Dom goes away with bragging rights over Cody.
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds fun. I mean, that match is going to have so much heat because Cody is the hottest babyface and Dom is the hottest heel. Like, it just makes sense to put them together.
It's your main event.
Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
Damn. You're welcome.
Maybe it should open the show.
I mean,
one or the other.
As a curtain jerker, it does sound pretty good. Here's why I don't think that Brock thing will happen, and I think it's just logistical. I don't think he's flying to England. No, it's going to be in London. I mean, if it was in St. Paul, Minnesota, yeah, Brock's showing up.
Yeah, no shit. About to say I'll fly by private jet to St. Paul, but not to London. No, it just he threw it out there to me, and I was just kind of like, you know, I think you're going to get the third match anyway. I think now with that scenario he threw at me, I was just like, well, shit, you know, I love the idea, so that, you know, I had to throw it out here to you guys. Talked about Zoe and Natty, talked about Indashir being down Shelton and Cedric. Main event, Seth versus Damian Priest. I got to give Damian Priest credit. You know, as much as we made fun of him for, you know, his ROH gimmick as Punishment Martinez, he's been built up to where leading up to this match and during this match, you felt like there was a small possibility. It wasn't going to happen, but they at least built him up to where by the time this match came up to play, it wasn't like, oh, Seth's getting ready to crush this guy. You at least felt like Damian Priest was a legitimate threat. That's all I could ask for.
Yeah, I think they've made him seem like a almost credible main eventer. I never really had a problem with him in Ring of Honor. I just thought Punishment Martinez was a stupid name. I thought this match was really fun, and they are teasing stuff between Finn and Damian, and I think maybe when Damian Priest had that match with Bad Bunny and it was so well received and so much fun, it's almost like that was like a test run. It's like, can this guy be a main eventer? And looks like maybe he can be. What do you think, Zach?
He came into NXT with the gimmick of being really good at the bow and arrow.
Is that true?
the Archer of Infamy.
I was going to say Lance Archer.
he's and now, like, yeah, he's like a trusted dude. He's like not a top guy, but he's like top of the mid card. And he's like getting into those like top spots. Yeah, I mean, he's solid.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. Sorry, I was kind of disappointed when they teased some tension between him and Finn, because I kind of feel like they still got a lot of juice left in them as a team, as a foursome.
I would say they have the best, you know, kind of the best act outside of the Bloodline in the whole company. So I think they should not break that up.
I don't think so either. I think Finn beating Seth and Finn and Rhea both walking around with the big belt sounds pretty cool.
But I think in kayfabe style, I think shouldn't that be realistic for heels? I mean, both guys want to be the guy, so there should be tension.
Sure. I mean, it's just not the way it usually works.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Also, Punishment Martinez or Damian Priest, he is like changing like the fly before our eyes, except he's wearing more and more women's clothing and more makeup. Dude, he was out there in a fucking garter with full eye makeup. Like, that's not even a joke. What the fuck was he wearing? It was so heelish. Oh, I loved it. It was like a pink corset. He was wearing a fucking corset. I said garter. I meant corset.
Velveteen Dream.
Oh!
I mean, even more than Velveteen Dream. He makes.
Don't do it.
No, the other night, what he was wearing made fucking Velveteen Dream look like John Rambo.
You ain't shit.
I thought it was cool. Good for him, man. Do your damn thing. Anything else?
It's even more impressive is he probably lives in Florida.
Yeah,
I think he does. I mean, NXT still in Florida too? Yeah, I would be totally stunned if he really lived in Florida.
Anything else about WWE main event?
No, just obviously Finn. Well, we can kind of like segue a little bit, just splinter off. Obviously, you talked about it at the opening. Braun Breaker has apparently called out Seth Rollins for a title match in NXT. I'm assuming somewhere down the line. I think he has business with Finn first, but it did catch my attention. I watched it live, and my knee-jerk reaction was, oh, really? Let's do this shit. Sorry, Finn. You're going to have to take a step back. We got something fresh here. Am I the only one excited about this?
Zach?
Excited about Martinez Rollins and Martinez? Or
Rollins and Breaker. Braun Breaker called out Seth Rollins.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I have kids in my house, and I was a little distracted there. That is very fresh and very exciting. And there was also Breaker and Dragunov. Looks like that's going to happen, which sounds like a super fun, fresh match. So,
well, next week is Dragunov, Baron Corbin.
No, I don't give a shit.
Oh, come on.
I would be lying if I said I was not at least curious, because this is rubber meets road for Baron Corbin.
I tell you what.
If you're going to build him up for Carmelo Hayes, you're going to have him beat Dragunov, who just, I mean, he goes toe-to-toe with Walter. Gunther, whatever you want to call him.
Listen, Baron Corbin is a good wrestler and a good promo. The promo that he cut at the beginning of NXT,
I didn't see it.
I mean, he just went out there, he opened up NXT, he went out there and he healed off on the locker room, and this was the house that he built, that he was there, he was a foundation of FCW, and then FCW turned into NXT, and he's like, now I walk in here, he's like, these guys don't even come up and shake my hand. And he just cut a promo in the entire locker room, and then Dragunov came out, and then they kind of went toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring. It was cool. I do like Baron Corbin. That was a good promo. He even had a shit match with Trick Williams. But he can be good. I'm not a Baron Corbin hater. It's just I don't know if those are the styles that I'm looking for. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. Anything else about WWE?
I think I covered it.
Okay, let's get to that. 2 counts.
1, 2, 3.
2 count. We'll talk some AEW, and for once we're actually going to talk Rampage, because they did a little thing called Championship Friday, which, you know, AEW will often just tack kind of surnames onto their shows to make them seem more important. But this one was 4 championship matches, and honestly, it was better than any of the Battle of the Belts that I've seen, maybe ever.
I swear to God, I was going to say that. You totally stole my thunder. This was better than any of them. Easily. Hands down.
I was like, there's been like 6 of them, and I can't think of a better one. And the opening match, I mean, just like whenever you say these 3 names, you're just like, oh, man. Like, you imagine what the match is going to be, and it's better than that. But it was El Hijo del Vikingo, Drew Listico, and Commander. And my daughter was getting ready for school whenever I had this match on, and like, she's just like riveted, because these guys are just flipping and flying all over the place. Even my wife was watching and paying attention, and like begrudgingly, like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool. Even though she just hates wrestling, so she hates like a lot of it. But yeah, this was awesome. It was for the AAA title, and Vikingo retained, which is not a huge surprise. He's had that belt for a good long while, and they're probably not going to change it on an AEW show. But man, these guys just delivered.
537, I think, is now the number of consecutive days that Vikingo has held the AAA Mega Championship. This was just a highlight reel of shit.
That's 0.53 RUs, which is a Roman unit.
True story. I was about to say, you keep that up, Vikingo. You'll get there someday. It's Commander walking the ropes like that makes no sense. You had Vikingo using the middle rope to do a lot of these.
630.
Even before that, he used the middle rope on a spot, and I can't remember what it was. It was just
He does the Phoenix Splash.
Thank you. He did that onto somebody. I'm just like, what the fuck? You're not so. You shouldn't be able to use the middle rope and get that much height, especially on the 630 coming onto the table. That is razor thin. If he doesn't make it, he could easily hit his head on the side of the ring, maybe over rotate, hit the fucking the floor, and not even hit anybody. I mean, the fact that he does that weekly blows my fucking mind. This is the reason why I even wanted to watch this show, and it delivered. I thought it would be the main event. It didn't matter. It was going to say curtain jerker works just as well. From that point, you got my attention. But yeah, all three guys can go. Dralistico, probably the one that most people don't know, but neither here nor there. It was a good way to introduce all three.
I love JR announcing these matches.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because, like, he watches it with the wonder of, like, showing a Viking Pornhub on your iPhone. Like, he's just like, oh, my God. He just can't believe what he's seeing. He's just completely blown away by it. It's like he's never even considered that these things can happen.
God bless JR.
I get a big kick out of JR doing that.
That's a great analogy.
So, what else was on this Rampage?
Zack Sabre Jr. beat Action Andretti in a really good match with, this is Zack Sabre Jr.'s shtick now, the 15-minute TV title matches, and it's cool to see him on AEW TV. Action Andretti, gave him a nice run for his money. He's a good technical wrestler. He's really clean and crisp, especially for his experience level, but it was definitely enjoyable. And just running through it real quick, Willow Nightingale, Emi Sakura, and then Katsuyori Shibata and Lee Moriarty. So that was for the New Japan Strong Women's, and then also for the ROH Pure title. So they were just all really solid championship matches.
They were all good.
Go out of your way to watch Rampage. Can't believe I'm saying it.
3 belts, or 3 promotions, 4 belts. I mean, it was a fun little show, man.
Shocking what you can do when you actually put your mind into it and put a decent show together.
It's also shocking what you can do when you have 30 belts amongst your roster.
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
As the New Japan fan in the room, one of those belongs to us.
Well, that's the thing. When Zach said that it's better than any of the Battle of the Belts, it's like, yeah, man, Zack Sabre fucking Jr. was on it.
I'm sorry, like, 2 of the belts belong to us. Thank you.
But it's like, man, it was pretty awesome. I did not know that he was on it until I turned it on today, and I was like, holy shit. He was wrestling Jeff Cobb last week, and now he's wrestling Action Andretti. I mean, it's a big drop-off in LBs. The guy can do everything. Can't wait to talk about the Zack Sabre Dominion match. Cannot wait to talk about it. But, okay, what was next?
And just to throw that out there, this was reportedly Bryan Danielson's idea. He's been doing a lot of creative with Tony Khan, so this Championship Friday was his doing. So props to Mr. Danielson.
Props for Tony Khan for actually listening to somebody that's not named Tony Khan, if that's the case.
Or Chris Jericho. So yeah, Dynamite.
Jericho taking shrapnel. Nobody was talking about Jericho
until now.
He'll just dry his eyes with crisp $100 bills. It'll be fine.
Yep.
So Dynamite opened with an awesome match, which unsurprising, just based on their interaction in the Battle Royal that led up to this. But Orange Cassidy defended against Swerve Strickland, and holy shit, if these guys just do not mesh perfectly, stylistically, chemistry-wise, they just really put it out there. Orange Cassidy, every single match that he does is great, and he is underrated when it comes to selling. Just like the subtlety of his gimmick, I think, is also underrated just because he is hugely popular. I don't think he even gets as much credit as he actually should, but he does so much selling and week to week, with these injuries that he's accumulating throughout this amazing title run where he defends the title against all comers every single week. I don't know if you've ever seen those stupid web videos like Scott Sterling, where he's just like Weekend at Bernie's and like wins like the volleyball championship is basically just by getting hit in the face with the ball repeatedly and it goes over to the other side. He's like that. He just completely gets destroyed every single week, but he's such a phenomenal wrestler and he manages to eke it out. And that was the story here. I genuinely thought there were so many near falls here. And so I went back and forth so many times. Going into this, I thought maybe they would change the title, and they had me convinced so many times that was going to happen.
Yep.
But he ends up squeaking it out again and does the roll up, pulls the tights after Swerve had already pulled the tights, sells the hand, shakes it off and sells the hand during the finish. Oh, so good. Love this match.
Jason.
I would say that when you get me emotionally invested, and then at the finish, my knee-jerk reaction was like, man, fuck! You got me. I thought Swerve was going to win. I was waiting for Swerve to win, and then Orange Cassidy pulls the fuckery, and like 2 beers or 3 beers said, when he had to pull his hand away, that was the cherry on top, because then I was like, oh, he's pulled his hand away, Swerve's going to reverse it, and he counted 3. I'm just like, man, fuck. That's when I was like, okay, you jokers just got me. I knew this match was going to be good, but this match superseded all my expectations because the story they told in the ring.
I have 5 things to say. The first one being, I bought every single near fall. I agree with everything you said. I expected Swerve to win. I was waiting for him to win. Second one being, to piggyback off of Zach's compliment about Orange Cassidy selling so well. I mean, he's got to be making his way up the rankings of when we talk about Wrestler of the Year at next year's Beefers. I mean, he wrestles every week. And he has great matches every week against a super wide variety of opponents. This was one of my favorite. But like every single week, it used to be on Rampage, but now it's on Dynamite.
Right.
It seems like 3 out of every 4 weeks, the first thing you hear is Jane by Jefferson Starship. And it's like, okay, set for one fall. And then they give him the first quarter block of the show, and it's fucking awesome every time. The fourth one being, I hope that this is a feud that they stay with for a while now. Like, him taking all comers is cool and everything, but I mean, I want to see a feud between Orange Cassidy and Swerve. The fifth one being, Swerve fucking rules too, man. I thought that match was incredible. It was really good. And I guess that guy with the face tattoo didn't stick around very long, huh?
I think they're hurt.
Together? They got hurt together?
I don't know. Don't.
Did they bang heads reaching for the same turkey leg in the bottom of the refrigerator?
He's like, I'm hit. I honestly, I don't know. I would be lying if I said otherwise. You're the journalist on this pod, so I'll defer to you on this one.
Streets is quiet.
Face tattoo couldn't hold a job.
What'd you say, 3 beer?
I said face tattoo couldn't hold a job. Big surprise.
Yeah, I know. All right, what was next?
I sound like a boomer. All right.
Well, last guy you know that had a face tattoo that held a job, to me, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I don't know that many. I was trying to think.
Bo's dude, Post Malone.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
Bo really hates Post Malone.
I was just going to say, Post Malone is like a salt of the earth kind of dude.
Zach's a fan.
I've seen so many wholesome interactions between Post Malone and just people in general. Like, even when he's just zooted out of his fucking mind on whatever it is he's doing,
Yeah.
he seems like a nice dude.
I got no problem with him.
So we had Bryan Danielson goes to commentary. Spoiler alert for the 3 count. He's going to be facing Kazuchika Okada at the not at Dominion, at Forbidden Door, which
shit. Oh God.
It might just be the best match we've ever seen.
Oh my God! Watching that shit live, it was like, you kidding me?
I think everybody, like, listen, I'm as excited as everybody. We need to slow our roll here.
What you mean slow our roll?
I mean, it's the match that I'm looking forward to the most. Of course, Brian Okada is a dream, like the dream match.
You better not say no. Then just stop.
I don't want to build myself up so much for it that I'm disappointed in it.
The only way you're going to be disappointed is one of them don't show. That's it.
Listen, if I got a vacation coming up in a month, I don't start getting excited right now. I started getting excited the night before.
Shit.
I'm going to watch the first 10 minutes of the match, then I'll decide if I want to watch the rest of it.
I start getting excited for my next vacation the day that I end my previous vacation.
No, man, I'm scared of disappointment. I'm just scared of, like, getting there and then, like, something shitty happening. It's like, like COVID or some shit. Like, you remember when people had, like, vacations planned and then they had to cancel? Like, they're like, I was supposed to go to fucking Croatia for 2 weeks. And it's like, nope, sorry.
Oh, I know. COVID fucked my shit up, too. Let's not get it twisted. That being said, I am not going to let that fear, and this is coming from the pessimist in the room, I'm not going to let that.
Apparently not.
I'm not going to let that downplay what arguably could be match of the year. And this is where a year when you had Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega do it once, and they're going to do it again. But spoiler alert.
Here's the problem, and Zach, tell me if you agree with me or not. With an attitude like that going in, nothing short of match of the year candidate will do. I'm not saying they're not going to have a match of the year. I fully trust both those guys.
Let him answer the question. Go ahead.
But it's just so much pressure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would not want to.
Sorry, Zach. Go ahead.
So this is what it's all about.
I totally get where you're coming from, because just imagine, for instance, like if there were to be an Okada Omega 5, just the pressure involved. Like, it's never going to live up to any of the other ones, right? Just because of the peak, and you don't necessarily want to, just set too high of a bar in your head, unrealistic expectations. Right. I get it.
That's why you don't make Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. You know what I mean? Because it fucks with the rest of them.
I'm still going to see number 5.
Yeah, of course I am too. It's indie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But these guys have never faced. They're on each other's bucket list of guys to face. We're making it happen on neutral ground. I mean,
neutral ground?
Yeah, it's Toronto.
Okay.
Toronto's a neutral territory. Like Switzerland.
I mean, I don't. Look, you can downplay this shit all you want to, motherfucker. That shit is hype. I'm hyped for it. Every time I see that graphic, it just makes me like.
Bro, I'm hype.
No, you ain't hype. You kind of.
I'm hype.
Okay. Let's put the toe in the water. Let's see how it feels.
Bro,
man, dive in, motherfucker.
Bro, I am hype. You know that part in the. Have you ever seen Out of Sight, Zach? With with George Clooney, and Don Cheadle's like the thug, and Steve Zahn's the nerd, and he's in the back, and Don Cheadle says something about his whip. And Steve Zahn's like, but this is our whip, because he thinks he's talking about the job, but he doesn't know that the whip's a car. I'm telling you, dude, I'm hype.
Go ahead,
I think
Beer.
Bill's just a tip, but we're balls deep already.
I'm going in, dog. I'm sorry. Call me what you wanted. This is the only chance we gonna get this chance. Oh yeah.
And we have that, and then we have Omega Ospreay. So, like, just those two matches, they could not put another match on the show, and I would give them $100.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would pay for this one. You've earned my money. I won't illegally stream this shit.
I mean,
but
I
he was
might.
on commentary. Depends on how good the stream is. The Blackpool Combat Club faced Chaos, and this was a super fun match. And of course, Blackpool Combat Club went over. Wheeler Yuta beat Chuck Taylor like he thought he had his lunch money. And Danielson on commentary, totally fun. I don't know, just a party match.
Yeah, I mean,
Hung Bucks backstage, which I'm just thrilled about the reunion, mostly so that I can say Hung Bucks again. But talking about being back where Dynamite began in Washington, D.C., and issued a challenge to the Blackpool Combat Club. So that's something that we get to see on free TV next week. Pretty great.
I want to take one step back to be the Blackpool Combat Club. Wheeler Yuta on this podcast gets all kinds of shit. He is the little brother of Blackpool Combat Club. And I get it. He's that dude. He's forged in combat, but nobody takes his ass seriously. He pinned Kenny Omega. We got to give him credit for this. And now he's got a second win. I'm not saying that he's going to be running off and, usurping everybody and taking over the Blackpool Combat Club. He's not. Bryan Danielson runs him down even on commentary. But
they're making a star
slowly.
Yes.
That was my point.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean, come on, I'm just busting his chops.
For sure. Yeah.
I like watching him wrestle.
For sure.
I'm just busting his chops.
Right now, you can't take him too seriously because ultimately he's still little brother in a faction where you have Moxley, Claudio, and Bryan Danielson.
I'm telling you, man, it's more the way he talks than anything else. It's just like he shouldn't stand next to Moxley and talk.
Well, he feels like the hype man when he's sitting next to Moxley. I'm just like, dude, just settle down, man. Just chill out. We're going to get to a match in a second. Just sit there and look mean for 30 seconds. But, no, I just wanted to give a little love to our little brother, Wheeler Yuta, on the podcast. Bill makes fun of you, but ultimately, we all know you can go. So that's what's most important.
Wheeler.
Uh-oh.
I appreciate you.
Oh, you little punk.
I do. I think you're great.
The reason the Pure title was such a good fit for him is because he looks like a virgin.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good.
All right, so we had MJF coming out. He did his little shtick, running down the fans for a bit, but then Adam Cole's music hits, and we get a little face-off. And these talking segments that are kind of long back and forth can be hit or miss, but this was an absolute hit. MJF talked about kind of stop being a fan, just in general, like when CM Punk left wrestling. Then he found Ring of Honor, which he thought sucked, but Adam Cole's work was good. Talked about him going down to Florida, shocking the system as Shawn Michaels' handpicked guy, which is undisputed. And then talking about MJF following in his footsteps and, pretty much just kind of from there started running him down. So built him up so he could run him down and build himself up, which was really good. Basically called Adam Cole video gamer and saying that Britt leaves the house with his balls in her purse, and Cole comes back with some great one-liners. Basically said that they should go backstage and piss in cups and take tests to see who's natural and who's not. Called him like an internet troll. Talking about his fiance leaving him. Pretty much just great back and forth stuff. I don't want to go through like the entire thing, but one thing I did notice during this back and forth that was excellent, that did not take away the enjoyment, but it did make me chuckle, is that Adam Cole and MJF is like the exact same height. So I just wonder what Bill has to say about that.
It's funny you should ask me, because I was just about to say, for all you people out there, there's a few on this podcast that teased me about that I really just need a big guy, and that I was being too hard on the Four Pillars because I felt like they were the JV team and they're all skinny, and I called them the Lollipop Guild, which I did. But I did not have any of those feelings with Adam Cole in the ring with MJF. And the reason being is because Adam Cole is in the big leagues. Adam Cole is varsity. Adam Cole has shown that he can be a top heel or a top babyface on a show in a faction, that he can hold a belt and have tremendous matches. Maybe my favorite match of the last 5 years with Johnny Gargano at NXT. I didn't feel any of that stuff that I felt with the Four Pillars in there, because Adam Cole is not only on MJF's level, he is above MJF. And it's been a while since MJF was in a ring with a guy that acted cooler than he did. And Adam Cole acted cool as fuck that entire time. I thought MJF's insults were, the shoot stuff, the work shoot stuff. It's like, oh, God, there's just so much of it with him. It was a fun segment, don't get me wrong, and I popped a few times. But, yeah, I know they're the same height. In fact, I would have thought that Adam Cole was a little shorter, but he's bigger stature. In this podcast, damn it, I fucked it up.
Yeah,
All right.
You were right there. You were right there. It was surprise. It's like, oh shit!
I'll fix it in post.
Oh, no, I got it.
I'll fix it in post.
I'm gonna rebound this shit. I got a rebound and 2 points. Fuck you.
So this match is next week too. So this match is next week also, which I think I think Adam Cole would be the perfect guy to take the belt off MJF. In this moment, I just don't know if they're going to do it on free TV. Jason.
Okay, first and foremost, it's an eliminator match, so it's basically a number one contenders match. It's not for the title, and I think that's kind of what my initial point is when I saw Adam Cole come out. Initially, yeah, it feels great, but
it's an eliminator match against each other, right?
Yes.
Not like a number one. Okay, all right.
Basically, if you win, you get the title match. When I saw Adam Cole come down, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is one of the matches that we need to see at some point at the title. Thought it would be the other way with Adam Cole being the champion. Neither here nor there. But I think that was kind of my problem coming into this, is that Adam Cole should be there, but it didn't feel like he's been built up to get to this point. It felt like you beat Chris Jericho, MJF beat these four guys. Neither one has anything really to do. Let's put them together. The fact that they had this eliminator match next week almost feels like it reinforces my initial thought. It feels like this should happen, but Adam Cole, as bigger in stature than he is than MJF, hasn't been built up enough, hasn't been healthy enough, whatever you want to call it. He hasn't gotten built to that point where now it felt natural.
Chew beer?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent opportunity for MJF to lose because he doesn't do it that much. And I think that this should be the program that main events Wembley, unless you want to have Punk MJF. I think this should be it.
Wow.
Can they wait that long?
I think if you have Cole win and then get screwed out of the next title match and then they do a rubber match for the title, you have like a 3-match program. Cole
but
wins
only
the
one match
Eliminator.
for the title.
Well, no. Cole wins the Eliminator, but then loses the actual title match because of shenanigans, but then is able to
like DQ or something.
Get another match. Not even DQ, but just like MJF beats him like with the Dynamite Diamond Ring or something, but he's able to get a rematch out of it. So I don't know what they'll do with Forbidden Door. Like, what did they do last year with the champions?
It was the Fatal 4-Way where Adam Cole got hurt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I don't know, but unless you're gonna do Punk, I think this is kind of the hottest thing you got.
You don't think that? See, I think when is Wembley?
I think it's August 27th, if my memory serves me correctly.
I think that's Omega Ospreay 3. That's what I think headlines.
Oh yeah,
Wembley.
I mean,
No, but we're just saying.
I don't think it'll headline it though. I think it'll be.
No, we're just trying to figure out
Okay, yeah.
where
What the belt is? Okay,
where
yeah.
does the AEW title fit in these next few pay-per-views you got coming up?
Never mind. Okay, I got you. I'm with you.
That's what I'm saying. For me, let's say they do. Let's say, for sake of argument, Adam Cole, Bebe, wins the eliminator match, loses at Forbidden Door, and then the next pay-per-view is Wembley. So Forbidden Door is at the end of the month. Wembley's at the end of August. That's 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they can't stretch this out for 2 months, but you're going to have to do a lot of hoop jumping, and that's going to probably have Adam Cole jumping through this hoop, that hoop, that hoop, that hoop in this scenario if you play it like that.
Right on. All right, what was next?
All right, so after this we had Hardy's backstage with Ethan Page. I really don't give a shit about this, but it looks like Page is getting a face
less
turn.
of a shit.
Dude, I'm so
what
pissed.
are they doing?
Ethan Page just
It's like a Page face turn.
Okay, all right. Next.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it. Yeah.
About to say, don't
Then
piss
we
me
had-
off, slap nuts.
Then we had an absolutely wild match on a 1 week build. We had Jungle Boy and Hook, so Jungle Hook versus Preston Vance and Drew Listico. And they did like this Texas Tornado match where Preston Vance just got busted the hell open. And there's blood everywhere. There's like table spots and chains and absolutely nuts. But it ends up, Jungle Hook, they put him in the dual finishers, or they put Jose the assistant and Preston Vance in dual finishers. They got the double tap.
Hey,
They got Drew Listico tap.
did anybody else think that when Hook was covered with all that blood, that he was a newborn baby?
God damn. Man, I know you redeemed yourself. You took your time on that one, and then you just go on ahead and finish that motherfucker home. You ain't shit, by the way.
I couldn't get it out. No, I fucked up again.
No, I thought you did good. Better than the first time around. Preston Vance, God bless that dude. I mean, he's just trying to, go up the card, and he's just getting busted open on a random ass Wednesday night. Not nearly as bad as Steve Macwood on Under Siege. I guess it was a couple weeks ago now, but still a lot of blood. I said it to Device last night. This shit was wild. It meant nothing. Absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of AEW. But if you threw these 4 jokers out here, here's Texas Tornadoes rules, knock yourselves out. I was entertained.
For sure. It was entertaining. No doubt.
Yeah. We did not get Jungle Boy turning on Hook, but are we still expecting that? I think I'm still expecting
I
that.
was like, you got that chair. Go ahead, dog. Ain't nobody looking.
So you think Jungle Boy's turning on Hook? You think that's imminent?
I think he's turning
I think that's
on
the heel
some.
turn.
I think he's turning, and Hook is a really big baby face, probably on the same stature as Jungle Boy. It would make sense.
If Jungle Boy turns heel, he's got to get rid of that music.
Oh yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
I'm not
all right.
either.
What's next?
Tony Khan, he comes out to announce the main event of Collision. We had Samoa Joe Switchblade and Juice Robinson versus FTR and CM Punk.
Right. How is just saying Tony Khan and thinking about the segment enough to make everybody start cracking up?
I'm laughing for my own reason. I mean, his reason is different than the reason I'm laughing.
There's so many jokes. I mean, there are so many jokes. I mean, it is
number one.
It is something wild. Anyway, but yeah, sorry. It is Bullet Club Gold and Joe versus Punk and FTR. As I saw somebody on Twitter say today, they said, oh, well, I mean, that's fun, but that's not like tell your wife get out of the house for a few hours fun.
That's amazing.
I thought it was a hell of a main event, actually. I was pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, I'd rather just see Punk versus Joe, right?
Yeah, but then you don't have like any build at all. Like this is building to either Punk Joe or Punk Switchblade or both, and it's building for Juice and Jay against FTR, which I think is also building. I think
Man,
yeah, we'll get there.
God damn it! I just thought about Punk Switchblade, and for a split second, I forgot about how much I hated Punk, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty cool."
Yeah, I know, right?
But if it was a single, I think they put him in a 6-man match because they know they only have, because he won't have to do any of the work. They put him in there with the 2 workhorses, and that way they'll probably get 2 episodes of Collision out of him before he gets hurt again.
Jesus, I was nowhere near going to be that cynical. I was like, my biggest thing is seeing the match itself. My knee-jerk reaction was FTR and Punk together, and obviously Dax and Phil have a connection of some sorts. I guess maybe Cash does too. I don't know. I guess my knee-jerk reaction was this is a roll of the dice for FTR more so than anybody else on this between these 6 guys. Fans love FTR, and fans are polarizing on CM Punk. Putting them together, even for this match in Chicago will love this shit. They're going to eat up the fact that the CM Punk's back home, yada, yada, yada. Get it. Others,
I just think Dax is just a connoisseur of CM Punk's farts. He's got his own, tasting glass. He's just like...
You ain't shit. But I guess my point is FTR is making a very intriguing decision to where I would like to see reactions of fans going forward outside of Chicago. Should still be okay.
It's an interesting point.
As long as you don't keep them motherfuckers together.
It's an interesting point.
All right. I'll be watching that first episode of Collision. Time will tell.
I think we're all going to watch. I mean, like I said.
Can you imagine one of us showing up to the podcast and being like, actually, I didn't see it?
Okay. On three, name the person that you would think would not watch the first episode of Collision. On 3,
yeah.
I'll go 1, 2, 3. We'll say the name.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Zach.
Oh, shit, that's funny.
That is kind of funny. Go ahead, Two-Beer. Sorry, I threw you underneath the bus.
I mean, I said my own name. But I just don't want it to be Thunder, right? Because I remember as a kid being so hyped that Thunder came out, and I didn't take me long to just not really make Thunder a priority.
So I've probably asked this before. Is Rampage sticking around?
It is.
Jesus Christ.
It's 5 hours of AEW weekly.
God damn, that's a lot. Okay.
It's a lot. It's the same amount as WWE. They have 3 and 2, and then AEW has 2 and 2 and 1. Plus Tony's doing ROH. But Dark and Elevation are going away. So
2 hours of NXT.
Right.
I mean, if you're doing that much work, the blow don't hurt, right? I mean, that's a lot of booking. That's a lot of booking.
We had Takeshita, who beat a jobber who, for a second, I thought was Sean Spears. That worried me for a second, but it was
If
not.
you ain't gonna do it, I'll do it. Jesus Christ, come on.
I looked up and it was over. Like I never even saw the guy's face, I don't think.
Perfect. It doesn't matter. Womp his ass.
Takeshita and Don Callis are getting Dominic Mysterio levels of heat.
Oh yeah. It's good. Don Callis is good. Big fan.
Yeah, I'm here for that ride.
And Alex Marvez backstage with Kristen Cage.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If Swerve doesn't beat Orange Cassidy, Takeshita should.
Oh, that'd be good.
Down with that.
Yeah, that'd be real good. Ooh, I think I almost like that more.
I kind of almost like it more, but I think Swerve should be the one. At this point, I'm just like, dude, if he doesn't beat this motherfucker, wow. Wow.
Yep.
Backstage segment with Kristen Cage, the locker room. I didn't catch this. Now that I have no idea what happened. I don't think I really cared too much. I got tuned out.
Luchasaurus beat up Arn Anderson's kid in the locker room.
Riveting stuff.
Yeah.
That's fine. They have still 5 hours of TV.
How is it that the guy that doesn't have kids isn't the one like, riveting stuff? You know, if your kids were getting beat down backstage, you know, this is for you. We're trying to, appeal to the parents in the room.
Oh, so you're saying this segment was trying to engage us on an emotional level?
Of course.
Yeah, didn't do it. No. There was a dinosaur making noises. I mean, the guy came out in a dinosaur fucking mask. It was not very realistic.
It was my paternal instincts into overdrive.
Yeah, it wasn't like watching Mystic River. Just Sean Penn. Is that my daughter in there? Is that my daughter in there? No, it was a dinosaur beating up Ric Flair's best friend's kid. A dinosaur.
You guys ought to be ashamed of yourselves.
I'd rather watch Mel Gibson's Payback.
Give me back my son. I remember you.
Or Ransom.
What?
Not Payback. I'd watch Payback though.
Yeah, Payback rips.
What? I can't remember what episode that was, and there was so many.
Give me back my son.
I think this was Shock City days when you were on that one episode. I mean, it's just every fucking time.
Give me back my son.
It's like you had the remix, and you played the remix on the air. I was like, what the fuck?
And it's like, give me back my son.
Give me the money. Give me the money.
Right. And then Garrison East is like, give me the money.
311, baby. You gotta love it.
It's really good.
So we had Chris Statlander beating Anna Jay, so obviously retaining her TBS title. Main thing here was Taya Valkyrie standing backstage. It seems like maybe now she's going to be a heel. She's mad that after she lost, somebody won. Kind of like getting mad whenever like somebody opens the spaghetti jar sauce that you like couldn't fucking open. Like, just I don't understand the anger.
Why is this motherfucker on fire tonight? God damn. I don't get it either. I'm a Tyra Valkyrie fan. The fact that it feels like she's even enhancement talent off the bat just bothers the shit out of me. But it feels like they're building to Statlander, Valkyrie. I'm assuming Forbidden Door feels about right at this point. They did it last year's Forbidden Door. They'll probably do it this year as well. It is what it is. You know who's going to go over. So at that point, let's move along to the next one.
Wait a minute. I just had a thought that I haven't thought yet. Oh, never mind. I was like,
you're thinking Mercedes, but she got the sprained ankle.
But she's hurt. Yeah, but like, would they have done a Mercedes Moné Forbidden Door match in AEW? I mean, that would have been fucking crazy, right?
If Mercedes didn't get hurt, she would be the NJPW strong champion. So maybe, I mean, it's just I don't know.
Man,
the opportunity was there.
The opportunity is there. There you go.
That would have been a big deal.
It's going to be a big deal regardless. Now you're just...
Yeah, but her on American television, or for an American promotion, WWE's biggest rival, like...
You know she's going to get there. It's just not going to be for Forbidden Door.
All right, and what was next?
Next, we had... what do we have? Oh, yeah, the main event.
Yep.
Jay White and Ricky Starks. Pretty fun match, just because Jay White is phenomenal. Ricky Starks is really good. Great heel, great baby face. But finish was obviously... I was wondering how they were going to do this finish, because you don't want to beat Jay White. And it seems rough to beat Ricky Starks whenever he just gets beat up every single week and then just beat him clean. So this is kind of what was expected, but it doesn't make it like super interesting, or it doesn't make it's not a feel good situation. So, but we had the Guns come out, which is completely unexpected. I mean, I figured some fuckery, even though they had the rest of the crew banned from ringside. But the Guns was not what I was expecting. So I don't know if the Guns are
God damn it.
Bullet Club now. I don't know if it's just a mercenary situation. I guess we'll find out. But Jay White goes over. And overall, pretty decent episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, it certainly gave the podcast a lot of free advertisement. I mean, they said banned from ringside a lot.
Oh, shit.
I liked it.
Did I say that needs to be a drop? I'm telling you, that needs to be a drop.
I don't want to fall into the trap of just fantasy booking everything. But it would be fucking hilarious next week if the Guns, the Ass Boys, came backstage to Jay White and Juice, and they were wearing like Bullet Club shirts, and Juice and Jay White are like, no, you're not in the Bullet Club. Did you think that we were inviting you to be in the Bullet Club? No, the Ass Boys are not in the Bullet Club. Hit the fucking bricks.
Honestly,
unless they had like the Guns be like their young boys or something, that would be funny too.
Honestly, I can almost see that, because they can be
oh man, the biggest fail sons in the history of fucking
not
wrestling.
even that, but
that's a fucking littered. That's a fucking full graveyard too, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you can have them be the guys that eat pins instead of Jay White and or Juice. If you have plans for Juice, you better have plans for Jay White. The fact that he's even in this tag team scene at this point kind of bothers me. Neither here nor there. The Guns coming out is a twist. I like your idea, but my knee-jerk reaction is somehow, some way, they're going to be a part of this Bullet Club Gold. They need guys, and they just showed two more that just came out there. So that's my knee-jerk reaction.
My knee-jerk reaction was, oh, these guys, what the fuck?
But no,
why are you doing that?
But Zach makes a great point.
Fucking.
How do you get out of this? You gotta build up Jay, but you can't let Ricky Starks go down clean.
A fucking locker room full of go-getting work rate motherfuckers, and the fucking Guns come out.
Bill.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm disappointed. Maybe they are there to eat the pins. I don't know. It's still disappointing.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but somebody had to come out that was not named Juice Robinson.
That's fine. Find two more guys. They fucking own everybody on the planet.
Not named WWE, but yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, I thought it was a pretty good Dynamite too. Anything else we gotta say about it? Next week's going to be a loaded show, obviously. MJF, Adam Cole, Bebe, and that tag match, the Hung Bucks versus the Elite. I mean, two big.
Are they expecting like a basketball match or something? Is that because like there's a loaded show?
Oh my God. Did you? What did you just call this? Can you say that again, please?
A basketball game.
I'm sorry. You know we're past the regulation of the basketball matches portion of the program.
They're all part of the They're all part of the same networks anyway. Even if it was an NBA game, it wouldn't be that. But that series. They wouldn't. Yeah, they're not worried about
something. That. Yeah, as long as it's.
I think it's probably just one of their themed. Is it Bash at the Beach or something?
No.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, either way, I'm excited. Hey, you know what we do to make this podcast exciting? We ring the damn bell.
1, 2,
wrong house, but.
3.
All right. So let's not. Listen. We are headed towards an all-time long ass podcast. So, aren't we? I feel like we are, especially if we're going to go through every single G1 announcement, every single match. So, you just let your boy quarterback it, okay? We're going to talk about NJPW Dominion, the pay-per-view. Overall grade on this pay-per-view, I would give it, you know what? I'll save it for the end. But let's start at the beginning, which we had Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer in a number 1 contenders match for the NJPW US title. Lance Archer seemed like a motivated Lance Archer in this match. He was fucking spectacular. This match didn't overstay its welcome. I think it was a little under 10 minutes.
8:01.
8:01. Oh, my God. But, of course, Ospreay goes over, which sets up the match against Omega at Forbidden Door. Jason, what you think?
More so about Lance Archer than Will Ospreay. Just for me personally, I like Lance Archer. He was built up in the New Japan Cup pre-COVID, and then he came over to AEW, lost to Moxley in a title match, and really hasn't had much traction since in AEW. So seeing him in New Japan like this made me a little reminiscent of the good old days. But ultimately, the right guy went over, obviously. Like I said, for me, it's more about Lance Archer, about what could have been if he stayed versus what it is since he left.
What you think, Zach?
Oh, I thought this was a fantastic little sprint. We've seen these guys wrestle before, and they're always really good. But yeah, it was like they had that much time. Ospreay, they're both coming back from injuries. So, yeah, it was a great way to open the show. Super fun.
Loved it. This match, I think I skipped a match here. What was Shingo fighting in?
It was basically LIJ.
Was that the next match?
Yeah, it was LIJ versus Just Five Guys. Just five.
It was pretty much the main event. It was the main event stables, just minus the main event guys.
Gotcha.
I didn't mean to interrupt the telling of the Chris Charlton song, which has been a really fun meme. I've really enjoyed those. They've been very funny.
Great O'Con was pretty fucking good too.
The Great O'Con one was
oh hell.
We had Kevin Knight and Kushida versus TJP and Akira. What is the name of their tag team again?
Intergalactic
That's
Jet
22.
Setters. I'm sorry. Catch 22 is obviously the United Empire.
Right.
Akira's
TJP
name.
Akira.
Intergalactic Jet Setters is Kevin Knight and Kushida.
Wow. I forget who went over in this match because all I remember is the end.
The challengers went over.
So Kevin Knight and Kushida hold the belts now?
No.
No.
Are TJP and Akira?
Yes.
Catch 22. And then, what's his face? Clark Connors comes out, all Bullet Clubbed up now. And
it's not even now. He's been Bullet Club for a
little
bit.
This wasn't his
since
Bullet Club,
Resurgence, I guess.
right? So, but I mean, he's been Bullet Club for a couple months, and he said, I got my buddy with me, and they kept looking for who it was going to be, and who could it be but Driller Dan Maloney, their dog, right behind him, big time heel turn, and so Dan Maloney is now a member of the Bullet Club. Also, what you think about this angle, Zach?
I thought it was phenomenally done. I wasn't expecting it. it just came out of nowhere because they had like kind of a rivalry in the Battle of the Super Juniors. So yeah, I fully expected somebody to be coming down the ramp, and whenever Dan Maloney attacked from behind, I was like, oh man, I was like, that was really well done, especially by some guys that are not used to doing big angles. So it also gives Dan Maloney, who had a very nice showing technically. I think it gives him some good character. I think he's kind of going to be better in Bullet Club than United Empire. And yeah, definitely interesting. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, wrestling is best when it gives you what you want, but not necessarily what you expect. And this was one of those things, like you said, brilliantly executed. And this was a sneaky, newsworthy show for Bullet Club for sure. Don't want to jump the gun too much, but I mean, we also had Alex Coughlin and Gabriel Kidd are also part of the Bullet Club now, and Bullet Club is kind of exciting. Is this version of Bullet Club kind of exciting, Jason?
The funny part about it is I thought Alex Coughlin was going to be the guy that was going to come down the ramp when Clark Connors was calling somebody down, and then it ended up being Dan Maloney. I like Dan Maloney when he was a part of United Empire, because United Empire seems fairly chill for the most part, except for Great O'Con, who just brings out swords whenever he wants to. But Dan Maloney was like that, the firecracker, the hothead of the group. But flipping him to Bullet Club, with the Bullet Clubs being now Savages, makes sense. Now, I hear a lot of people talking about, this is boring, yada, yada, yada. I'm willing to give this shit a chance, man. I like Gabriel Kidd. I like Alex Coughlin. I think pound for pound, I think he's one of the strongest wrestlers in the world. Clark Connors, I've been huge on for a long, long time. And Dan Maloney, I saw him in progress, and seeing him back in New Japan makes me interested. I'm willing to see where this goes. Looks different.
I mean, also, David Finley's a pretty cool fucking leader so far.
So far, because it's a different iteration of Bullet Club.
Zach, where you at on Bullet Club right now?
Generally positive, because it's just new life, right? They're breathing new life, and it's a different act, and they're bringing in like young talent, right? It's not strictly, we've seen like that kind of, when we first started the podcast, we had kind of the tail end of the Kenny Omega Bullet Club, and then the transition to the Jay White, and between like the Jay White and the Evil and like the House of Torture and all that, Jay White was excellent, but I felt like the act was getting very stale. This is a nice refresher.
So is House of Torture are they still considered like an affiliate of Bullet Club? I mean, they never bring it up.
They're a subgroup of Bullet Club. As it stands right now, none of them, when it came down to David Finley taking over, none of them has ever kind of really challenge that. They've gone as the flow of the leader goes, they go with the flow. That being said, are they Bullet Club? Essentially, yes.
And you know what really bothers me is when people that don't actually watch New Japan and they compare the Bullet Club to NWO. The Bullet Club would only be like NWO if all the old Bullet Club members were still in the Bullet Club. And there was just like 30 people in the Bullet Club.
Oh,
this is like more like a fraternity that you pass through, kind of. Like, you don't stay Bullet Club all the time. NWO, everybody on the roster was NWO. It was completely stupid.
I will say this. The reason, I think the biggest reason I like Bullet Club, this new iteration of Bullet Club, is because now you have a chance to get 5 guys over if you can possibly do it. Hell, if you get one of these guys
just
over.
5 guys, though, right?
No, all 5 guys.
So 10 guys.
No, just these 5 guys. No, but you got a chance to get guys over. Clark Connors, I think, is just, is right there on the cusp. Dan Maloney, same way. Gabriel Kidd and Alex Coughlin are like the next tier down. But if you put them in spots where you can see them build themselves up, have good matches. I think this is a good way to get these guys over. It's just not flashy Bullet Club and also the Bucks and Cody and all these other guys.
But yeah, exactly, because when the Bullet Club started out, and I'm not acting like I watched it back then, but I understand the history now. When Bullet Club started out, it was 4 guys who weren't Japanese that felt like they were being underused, and they were young and hungry. They're only household names now because it worked. So it's not like Bullet Club wasn't always supposed to be filled with your favorite indie guys. Bullet Club was supposed to be new guys that they believed in. You know what I mean? That's why it became a faction, and that's what these guys feel like. These guys feel,
a throwback to the original. Like, so let's see where it goes.
Kind of the way that people are going to make fun of me for this comparison, but like when Nexus got pushed into when it was Wade Barrett, that shit was pretty okay, man.
Look, one of the biggest things I will take to my grave. Number 1, Booker T should have beat Triple H. Number 2, Nexus should have beat John Cena.
Yeah, I agree. Wade Barrett. I tell you what, Trump wouldn't have gotten elected if Wade Barrett would have beat John Cena. It just we're talking butterfly effect all the way through.
You stupid as fuck. Go, what's next?
We had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jeff Cobb for the TV title. Big fan of this match, because I love everything that Zack Sabre Jr. does. I love most of what Jeff Cobb does. It didn't go 14 minutes and 30 seconds like the last of them. It went like the last bunch of them, it feels like. It went about 8.5 minutes. And Zack Sabre Jr., the pin, I wrote down here, what a pin with exclamation point, because Zack Sabre Jr. reversed the Tour of the Islands into a crucifix pin. And I watched it like 12 times in a row. It was very badass. What you think, Zach?
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because this match is excellent, but that was the thing that stood out the most, and also because it was the finish. But yeah, fantastic. I was like, oh my god, they pulled that off so well. Yeah, loved it. I don't know who's going to beat Zack Sabre Jr., but whoever does, he's like the Orange Cassidy of New Japan right now.
Stole my thunder, because Bill said Orange Cassidy should be on the list to wrestle the year. So should Zack Sabre Jr.
Yep, he wrestles all sorts of guys. I intently watch every single one of his matches. They're so interesting. He's also a great. If you would try to explain that finish to me, Tour of the Islands reversed into a crucifix pin, I would have been like, I can't. Like, you're trying to make me imagine a new color. It's like I can't even. It doesn't even make any sense.
I don't think they could have done it that way perfectly if you gave them 10 times. They got it the right time, the one time. I looked up. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Dude, it was awesome.
Over? What?
It was awesome. I also really enjoyed his little promo with Kevin Kelly afterwards, where he called Jeff Cobb pretty good looking, and Kevin Kelly goes, yes, he is. He goes, not as good as this, though. And he pointed at himself, and he goes, I could be a stonemason with his chin.
That was so good.
CSJ is so good on the mic, and he does
Incredible joke.
Because it's not presented like American wrestling, where it feels like it's mostly promo driven. New Japan, you just have to go out and seek the backstage comments, and that's where Zack Sabre Jr. really fucking shines, and a lot of other people do, but neither here nor there. Go ahead.
We had United Empire versus Bishamon versus House of Torture for the vacant tag team belts. Bishamon goes over. Zach, you cool with this ending? What you think of this match?
Yeah, that's the ending that I expected, and over the House of Torture stuff, but at least the crowd was into it. They were getting some heat, so at least it wasn't just like killed the crowd when it happened. But yeah, this was the worst match on the show, but that's not really its fault.
Yeah, and I really didn't even hate it. The House of Torture stuff was presented as so over the top, and it was on a spot on the card that's not that big of a deal. I actually was a big fan of this match.
Brett said the same thing to me, same old shit. I'm starting to get to the point where you and Brett cannot meet I said it when I first met him.
So he agrees with me?
Yeah, he quoted you on PSP 9. I mean,
Smart. This guy's smart.
yeah, it's getting to the point where you two cannot meet unless it's on my deathbed or in the party there afterwards. To me, that's just it's same old House of Torture shit.
You know we've met, right? A few times.
No.
High five time?
No, I'm talking about Brett.
I've never met this person.
No.
I like him.
I know. No, you're in High Five Time. I know you guys met. Okay, I was there. I was, drunk and high.
My bad.
Drunk / high as I was, I saw you guys meet.
Gotcha.
No, y'all can't meet at this point because now you sound the same, saying the same shit. I'm just like, ugh.
When you got it, you got it.
Yeah, right. Go ahead.
So what you're saying, Jason, is that you have a type of podcasting.
I like that.
Fuck you, 3.
Yeah, and then Alex Coughlin and Gabriel Kidd came out. We already discussed the Bullet Club thing. So up next, was there anything else that you had to say about that match? I like that Bishamon went over. They were the right team to go over.
It's a smart team to go over. How Aussie Open is the one that hurts because now you could have had something going on with that, but I'm assuming they're going to figure it out. Bullet Club is there for a reason, so we'll figure it out.
All right, so up next we had the G1 announcement, and this year, as rumored, is not 28 like last year. It is 32, so it is going to be 4 blocks of 8, and somebody being somebody who's watched New Japan for 5 or 6 years now, I was like, man, they're like, I really acted like I was a fucking purist. I was like, oh god, what the fuck, man. I really like when it's just 2 blocks of 10. Apparently it wasn't always 2 blocks of 10. Like, it changes all the time. It's just, so there's no reason to be too precious about it. I like this 4 groups of 8 because last year got a little confusing because all the blocks weren't fighting on all the same night. This year, hopefully they can do Block A fights one night, Block B fights the next night, Block C, Block D, and then if they have to do it later, they can do 8 match cards, which is probably what will happen. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on that. I'm not going to read through every participant, but I will read through participants who have either never fought in the G1 before or who weren't in it last year. So Shota Umino is there. Tangaloa is back. Haven't seen him in a while. Hikuleu is in it this year. Let's see here. Here was one that surprised a lot of people. Was Eddie Kingston is going to be in the G1. How do you think Eddie Kingston's going to do, Jason? It's a lot of working.
This is his dream, and depending on the schedule, because like you said, I think the schedule is going to be like Best of the Super Juniors was a really compact schedule. It felt like every day or every other day these guys were wrestling. That was 2 blocks. This is 4, so you're going to be able to stretch it out a little bit more. So Eddie Kingston, in theory, should be okay if you limit him on, the pre-match, cards that you don't watch. If you limit him on that and just stick to the G1 specifically, he should be okay.
What do you How do you think he's going to do, Zach?
Like standing-wise, or just?
No, just
I think he'll put on.
Do you think he'll have a good tournament in terms of entertainment?
I think he'll have a great tournament. I mean, he is an absolute student and just of like Kings Road, All Japan, and he's just
fine.
Yeah, he's like right at home. Even though like generally he doesn't seem like it seems like kind of an esoteric choice. One of these things is not like the other. He does really well in that style, and he's going to hit hard, and it'll be good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see.
He'll be this year's Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him in here. I think we've already gotten it before, but I would really like to see Eddie Kingston Ishii. Like, that sounds. Didn't we get that on a pre-show one time or something?
Actually, funny that you said that. When the Windy City Riot was Ishii and Minoru Suzuki. Ishii won, and then Eddie Kingston came out. So we got this last year.
Eddie Kingston, Aaron Hanari. I mean, that sounds like a heavy-hitting match. So I think ELP was in it last year, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Ren Narita, Edgar Ren Narita is going to be in it this year. Gabriel Kidd, Alex Coughlin, Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, Yota Tsuji, and Kaito Kiyomiya, who I think is from Noah.
Yes.
Right?
3-time Noah champion. So this is it was one of the biggest surprise. Eddie Kingston won, and for me, Kaito Kiyomiya 2. This continues a partnership of sharing talent between specifically Noah and New Japan, All Japan. Is kind of sprinkled in there. They'll have a show tomorrow night where all 3 of those Japanese promotions will be on the same show, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, Kaito Kiyomiya being in this should only mean that he and Okada should be in the same block, because they've had beef before. They had a match before, a match where Okada just basically made him look like a little bitch. So in this scenario, he should be there to build him up, A, but B, to have him face Okada again.
So there's going to be a lot more G1 content on the Band from Ringside podcast over the next. When is it exactly? About a month from now?
I think they said the 7/15, so that's July through August, if I'm not mistaken.
So Zach, last question about the G1. All right, are you excited for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. Zach, what do you think about the 4 groups of 8?
I think it's totally fine. You know, last year I was a little bit worried, with like the 4 groups of 7, just because the 2 blocks of 10 had been so good. But this does give us a wider cast, and it gives the guys a lighter schedule. And so, yeah.
Jason, where are you at?
You won't necessarily get to see as many of the mix-ups as you normally would, but I'm positive on it. I think it's fine.
Yeah, ultimately you'll get what you have last year, where you have block winners facing block winners. I came up with the 2 blocks of 10, like you said, 5-6 years ago, so I'm kind of used to that. But like you said, the Two-Beer said it. The wider cast, and that's where you get, Eddie Kingston, Kiyomiya, guys that you wouldn't expect to see in a G1. Obviously, Bryan Danielson is some guys that we're talking about, but I'll take the match with Okada over him being in the G1 any day and twice on Sunday. So in that scenario, no problem with it.
Finley goes over ELP in what was a good match, but it felt like they held a little something back because they might be returning to it sometime down the line. What you think of it, Zach?
Oh, yeah, this was super fun. You guys work together real well. Phantasmo is just as good of a babyface worker because of his moveset as he was just a stupid prick heel. I almost think I maybe prefer him as a stupid prick heel because he did the stupid, cock knocker stuff, and it was just so funny. But he's good. And, yeah, this was solid. But, yeah, Finley goes over. No surprise there. Yeah, solid match.
JCB, what you think?
I agree with Two-Beer on this one. And I like ELP as the heel. But I'd see the crowd loves ELP, so flipping him into a babyface makes sense. The right guy went over, especially when you built Bullet Club all the way up to this point. You can't have David Finlay lose. I'm not going to say who beats David Finlay because, in the grand scheme, what is it? In the Roman Reigns unit, he's like 0.1 at this point. So we're a long way away from that point.
Do you know what ELP stands for?
El Phantasmo?
It stands for Extra Logan Paul because he looks exactly the fuck like Logan Paul. They look the exact fucking same. When he came out, I was like, did they get Logan Paul? This guy's all over the place. Put him in the G1. You don't think they look alike?
Now you mentioned it, yes.
Yeah, dude, they look exactly alike.
Now you mentioned it, yes.
Hiromu goes over Watto in what is Watto's second outstanding match in a row. Big fan of this match. The crowd is into it. Hiromu goes over. Hiromu's got quite the reign. What you think of this match, Zach?
Yeah, Master Wato's really showing that he has been deserving of this push that he's gotten winning Battle of Super Juniors. So this kicked ass. This was awesome.
Kicked ass. Is that, Jason?
Classic Gato booking, giving Wato the BOSJ trophy, but not having him win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. No problem with that. You're killing two birds with one stone. You're building two guys up at the same time. Hiromu's going to should get a nice little run, and then at that point, I expect him to go up to the heavyweight division. But at the same time, you're building Master Wato up to the point where you can now realistically see him winning the title, and that's his next chapter in his career.
Moxley, Claudio, and Shota Umino versus Ishii, Tanahashi, and Okada. What are you laughing about?
Because watching this live, it was the Claudio watch. Claudio was running late because of, I think there was a typhoon.
Oh, that's right.
And it was basically like they switched the card like a couple hours, probably even more so than that. They switched the card to where this 6-man title match should have went beforehand. The 7th match was the Hiromu Wato match, and then the title match would have been the main event. They switched the matches just to make sure that Claudio could get there in time. So that's why when you say that, it makes me giggle. From that point, it fucking delivered. Claudio came in and just handled business. He swung Okada around like a little bitch. He's uppercutting guys left and right. It's exactly what I wanted. The right team went over, but Claudio was the showcase that I expected him to be.
What you think, Zach?
Oh, this was awesome. This was the funnest match on the show by far, and it was just the styles mixing and the stars and just everything about it was phenomenal. Ishii threw that headbutt from probably, 12 inches away from Moxley and busted him open. Like, he threw a hard way headbutt on the side of his head and just blasted Moxley. And that was probably the best thing that happened to Moxley all week.
Yeah, I bet he
loved it.
I bet he got hard.
I don't have to cut myself. Fantastic.
He got hard when Iron Sheik put Hogan in the Cobra Clutch when he at the Garden. You ever seen a picture of that where Iron Sheik clearly has an erection? They've asked him about it. He just giggled. Seriously, look it up. And then finally, the main event was Sanada goes over Yota Tsuji in about 17 minutes. Yota Tsuji, well, I wasn't familiar with his work at all. This was a really fun match, and I got to say, Yota Tsuji's, it was a very fun match. I really enjoyed his interplay with the rest of LIJ in the background about, he's acting like he's the leader and shit. What do you think, Jason?
That was one of the questions I asked on PSP. Is this a precursor of things to come? Is Yota Tsuji stepping up and trying to usurp Naito as the leader? Him coming asking for the fist bump at the press conference was a little weird. Him asking for the fist bump before the match is a little weird. There's one guy that I expect to see LIJ with the fist pump going first, and that's Naito. Now, all that being said, we hadn't seen. I'll speak for myself. I haven't seen Yota Tsuji since Royal Quest when he wrestled Tomohiro Ishii. I thought that was a crazy match, and I hadn't seen him since. Seen him, beat up just 5 guys, but then you didn't see him to the build to this match. So I had no idea what to expect. He's superseded all expectations. I thought Shota Umino has a high ceiling. I think Yota Tsuji is higher than that. Renderia the same way. He's blown away all the guys that went to Excursion and now has come back. Yota Tsuji in the G1 is a story to watch. I'm not saying he's going to win it. I'm just saying that's going to be one of the guys to watch. Maybe he's in the block with Naito and they have to wrestle, something like that. Or Shingo, something along those lines. But I will say this. Number one, there is something to be said about the LIJ thing. I think that comes into play down the line. And number two, Yota Tsuji, the name to remember coming out of Dominion.
Zach.
Yeah, I remember Yota Tsuji from his beef with Yugi Uemura a couple years ago at G1. Like, they would open every show and wrestle to a 10-minute draw.
Oh, it was that guy. I remember that.
Yeah. But yeah, he was decidedly less handsome, shorter hair, less charismatic.
Oh, he looks
less
like a Japanese god.
Dude, he's a superstar, and I know they don't do this. I know Gedo doesn't do this. They're pretty selective about who they put that title on. I think they could have made a star at Dominion and thrown this belt on Yota Tsuji, and he would have not faltered with this thing. I love this match. He just comes across like such a superstar. He is, especially like if you think about the implications for G1, him going in is like a champ and with LIJ, and then maybe have Naito win the G1, and then you have to face Yota Tsuji, and like the whole thing is like Naito is the leader of LIJ, but then I don't know. He is a star already, but like Jason said, it's going to be the sky's the limit for this dude.
I'm just going to say this. They did hint to the fact that Yota Tsuji could be the next Okada. Okada beat Tanahashi. The difference between those two, Sanada is not Tanahashi. Let's just call this for what it is. It's not the same thing. What I would love
I don't
to
even
see
think Sanada's Yota Tsuji. You know what I mean? I think Yota Tsuji will be better than Sanada.
God damn! Whoa!
Ooh, I love that stuff.
That's a hot ass take.
Love that stuff.
I wish we could I'll need to find a way to like piece off this little hot take. And
You heard it here first.
I mean, just put that on the, this is what you're going to get from this week's Band for Ringside. I'll just say this. I get it. I don't think you can pull the trigger when Sanada is the champion. If Okada was the champion, if Naito was the champion, Tanahashi, somebody with name, cachet that can absorb the loss, fine. Sanada is just getting started, and he's going to wrestle those same guys in LIJ at some point. Shingo, Naito, as long as he's the champion, those paths will cross. So I get it, but I think they did the right thing, but they put Yota Tsuji on the map.
I'll tell you what, this was a spectacular event. There were no bad matches. I had a lot of fun, and it feels like New Japan is back, baby.
Oh, it's been back for a little bit. Shit, it's just now it's back.
I mean, listen, it takes a lot of balls to book such a big event like this with Sanada and Yota Tsuji as the main event, and Hiromu and Wado, and putting Will Ospreay on first, and putting Okada in a multi-man match. I mean, that's confident booking, and it worked. It worked out.
Ultimately, that's what it is.
It's a fresh product. It feels like a fresh product, and they were using a lot of the same guys for a lot of the same spots throughout all the pandemic. And Japan, the pandemic lasted a little bit longer than it did here in terms of precautions and stuff like that. So it feels like a fresh product now.
But I think we said it. I think New Japan was probably the one promotion that was hurt the most because,
of course,
I won't say dependency on foreign talent, but bringing that foreign talent in and then having those fresh matchups makes New Japan what New Japan is.
No doubt. That's going to do it for our 3 counts.
1, 2, 3.
All right, we got
letter grade.
Oh, my letter grade, I'd give it an A-.
That was mine.
Jesus Christ. Fine. I'll go with it.
Oh, come on, dude.
I was going to say B+, about knee-jerk reaction.
Well, that's pretty good. We got some birthdays this week. Tatanka, 58, if he's still around.
You see me over here like,
Liv Morgan is 29. Dan Severn is 65. Tay Conti is 28. Congratulations, Tay. Hiromu Shida is 35. Mark Henry is 52. And Virgil is 61.
Oh, Virgil.
Hey, everybody. We know there's a ton of podcast listeners, so I appreciate you guys listening to our podcast for Vice.
Check.
For Tender Mahal.
Check.
For Cedric, who texted me this week. Pretty
Check.
funny. For Murray the Murray Man Murray.
Check.
It was about Damian Priest, of course.
That's funny.
For Murray the Murray Man Murray. For Lucha Chris. For
Check.
Patriot Pat.
Check.
For Reba the Dog.
Check.
For Two Beer Zach Bowman. For
Check.
Jason Cornelius Bell. I'm
Meet
Bill
you on
Vagey.
bitches. Check.
Happy Pride Month. Black Lives Matter.
Check.
Tip your local weed dealers.
Check.
Support your local restaurants.
Check.
And boo the heels.
Boo, bitch.